Welcome to Whispering Pines Farm's YouTube channel. My name is Jennifer Johnson and I raise Shetland sheep for their wool. This video I'm going to be skirting Rosalind's fleece. She's a UNR flock and her fleece is going to be sold in my auction, which I hold on my website. The auction begins on June 22nd. It's going to run through till June 29th. And Rosalind is a gray catmugget ewe. She had twin ram lambs this year. Oop, all the sheep are leaving. So they came in because it was so hot, and now it looks like they're heading out. So let's see if we can just get a quick... Oh, they're the last of them. It's okay. The sheep are all way out in the back pasture, and normally for these skirting videos, I've had sheep in this little area here. But as the summer progresses, the sheep are going to be spending most of their time way out and not in the barn. Because we're done feeding them hay. They're now 100% on pasture. So Rosalind, let's talk about her. She is a gray ewe, gray catmugget. Looks like we've got a nice dense fleece here. Her spinning fineness is 21.2. She's 3 years old. Sometimes I notice that if a ewe has had lambs, her micron number is a little bit lower. And if you think about it, you know, she's shorting herself protein and sending it to the lamb. And that manifests itself in a thinner staple. So I don't have any scientific data behind that or anything. I do know that, you know, if a ewe is underfed or whatever, she'll have a finer fleece, which, having said that, there is absolutely no way a good idea to do that to get the finer fleece, but that is one of the side effects that happens. If you overfeed your sheep, you'll see coarser fleeces, and we did that study. Not super scientific, but, you know, we did, I forget what he said. He did, I think he did cracked corn or something, and all of them had more. And harsh weather, too, we notice. When the weather's harsh, we'll have finer fleeces. All right, this is a nice big fleece from our Rosalind. I'm going to skirt a little bit because I got a little excited here, I think, and included stuff that may have been extending beyond the coat. I Roo'd her before she had her lambs, so that's the case with all of my mothers. I like to get the fleece before they lamb because the lambs have a tendency to ruin fleeces. So I try to get them off the mothers before the lambs arrive. And take that off, a little bit poopy. All right. There's still going to be some darker bits of gray on this gray catmugget fleece, which I like that. I always feel bad when I'm taking off all the interesting parts, leaving you with just one color when you're getting a catmugget. Catmugget is where they've got a dark underbelly and it appears on the sides after you've skirted. All right, Rosalind, there's that side. Now let's flip the fleece over and look at the cool color. Now, she's out of John Snow, was one of our really nice fine gray catmuggets, and a ewe named Rosemary who was white, and we bought Rosemary from the farm. She was beautiful, beautiful build. Fleece maybe a little, her fleece, she was really fine at first, but as she aged, the fleece kind of fell off, and by that I mean it just got more coarser than we want in our program. So we're watching Rosalind pretty closely. But at age 3, and she's still at 21.2, that's pretty good. And you can see she's got the little gray. I am seeing a little bit of like But sometimes when I roo, little bits of like lanolin will come up off of her skin. It's not dander, it's just this kind of greasiness. It washes off pretty easily. But I am seeing a little bit of that. Okay. Like that. Many times if I leave a fleece on the ewe for way too long, like if I hadn't been rooing until like now, that buildup gets really thick and really noticeable. This fleece is really nice, and her locks are they're loose. They're not as compact, but I still feel like it would be a good fleece to flick or comb or hackle. I mean, hackles too if you're a hackler. I don't use them, but they're a nice tool. I do have a 2-row hackle that I link to the videos. All right, so let's get a picture of some of this. Interesting. Her crimp is a little bit bolder than the last one we did, Zerlina's, but it's still very nice. We have a lot of gray ewes out of Jon Snow. We really liked his fleece. Okay, mid-rib. We're going for the same spot that we used for the micron sample when we do our fiber diameter testing. Look at that nice long staple. So this is one of the reasons for the cross that we did. Rosemary had a really nice long staple length. So that's 3 inches, and I'm going to take, there's a really long tip on here, which would just come right off as waist. So I'm not going to include that in my length. And that's a 3-inch staple. This is really nice. And there's a lot of fleece here too, so I mean you'd get a lot of really nice wool. So when I think about the wool from our sheep, I always think about each project being from one sheep. To me, this is probably weird, the notion of combining 2 different sheep's fleeces to make a blend just goes against my entire hobby here, because I think I've said this before. I started to spin because I had sheep and I wanted to spin their wool. And I don't spin anything besides my sheep's wool because it's part of my process. It's part of my getting to know my sheep and understanding the qualities that we like in their wool and what it's like as an experienced, as a hand spinner. So a lot of times people will say stuff to me like, or ask me questions like, how does it compare to, fill in the blank, Romney, Merino, whatever. And I tried doing a breed study, spinning the wool from the different breeds, but I don't know, it just kind of got away from me. My own sheep's wool would be sitting there waiting for me to flick it, and I'm doing some other stuff, so I just probably should get back at that. So, thing too is that, and this is I love this fleece study, and I actually love just learning about the breeds, but most of the breeds, they're trying to find breeds that are kind of unusual. And so nobody's going to ask me, how does this compare with a Duranta Heath? These really cool breeds that they come up with, they've been finding. All right, so there's Rosalind. Let's get a weight on her, because I did pull off a good amount of weight. I started at 28.5 ounces on this one. Let's see where we end up. $26.4, so about 2 ounces came off. It's still a nice size fleece though. All right, there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you can come back soon. Thank you so much.